Hello everyone. Today we are inside of Club Ra in the experience in the editor for Club Ra, and we are going to look at animating characters in Club Ra. And what I mean by that is animating characters like animals or people in your scene, not necessarily as interactable or roaming freely. They're animating. You are animating them in a track, basically, to go along a path or to do um, a set amount of things. And one of these examples is my roaming camels. We have roaming camels at the. They don't really roam on their own, it's just they roam along a path. And this path is what? Seconds. So, yeah, that's 120 seconds he takes to walk around this whole path. And if I select him here, yeah, you can see the whole path that he walks. And it's super simple to set this up. Like, all the real animating is already done. If you look, the camel has a walking animation that comes with the camel, and I just use that, and it never changes the animation. It just walks the whole time. So that is super simple to set up. And then we have a different. So okay, the scorpion here. So there's a scorpion that sleeps over here, and he just sleeps until this volume gets triggered. Once somebody walks into this volume, then he triggers a set of animations, and this is the animation set that I set up for him. Now I could change this very easily, but he runs up, strikes a few times, does, kind of tries to grab you with the claws or whatever. But this is a set animation. It will never change. It will always work that way. And then when the player leaves this zone after like 10 seconds, he will snap back into his sleeping animation. So that's another way you could do it. And I'm going to show how to set up all this with a new creature. Sorry, everyone. So I sell animated creatures or animals. Look at there's rats, a tiger, spiders, bears, squirrels, bats, and some snakes. So I'm going to take my cobra and I'm going to bring him in. I've already brought him in. I'm not going to show how to do all that part. Cobra right here. But I'm going to set up an area over here, and I'm going to I'm going to put the cobra over here. And when I update all this, probably within an hour of this video being shown, the experience will be updated with this cobra in it. So I'm doing this in the actual experience. So we need the skeletal mesh. We want to put the skeletal mesh in the scene. So I have the skeletal mesh of my cobra, and he looks to be a little bit small. Yeah, I mean, he's probably the correct size, but we want him to be bigger, so let's make him quite a bit larger. Maybe even a little bit bigger. Okay. And then we need a sequencer. So I want to create a cinematic level sequence, and I'm going to call this Cobra underscore idle underscore sequence. Okay. So this is just going to be a simple idle animation. And I can open up the sequencer. And I need to, my cobra is now in my scene. And I don't want him to rest right there. I want to put him in the folder, my animals folder. So I want to keep my outliner clean. And now I can drag this cobra into my sequencer. So now the cobra is there with no animation on it yet. So we can put an animation on it. Let's go with, and one key thing I did after I imported this cobra and everything is I renamed all the animations so it'd make it easier for me to find everything. So I want a coiled animation. I should probably look in here and then open up one of these, and then that I can look easier at the animations and see which ones I want. I guess I could just have that one, but I kind of wanted a coiled. I know I have a coiled one. It matches this. I want the one that matches this. Idle 4. Is that it? Idle 4. Yeah. And idle 3. No, idle 4. Okay. That's what we'll go with. Idle 4 and then strike 2. Because I want him to strike. I want this cobra to be a little bit interactive, since we do have these animations. Okay, so those are the animations I want. So let me add in idle 4 right there. Okay. Now I can select the cobra and move him to where I want. So I want him to be kind of just hanging out, maybe in. Definitely wouldn't be. I don't think it's that important, especially for this. I can change all this stuff whenever I want. That's what's so cool about the doing everything in the sequencer, because at any time you can just change all of this. Okay, so this we want this to be longer. This is only 5 seconds, so let's make this like whatever the animation is. Okay, that's fine. And so 5 seconds is fine for this animation. We could have it be doing other things, but that's fine, especially for a tutorial. So when the game starts, he's just going to idle in this kind of rocking animation. Make sure he's on the ground. And then we're going to switch the whole thing. So we can give it transforms. This has a transform for the whole snake, basically. I can give it a transform. And then we can save that. Alright, and go to the upper layer. So that's the Cobra idle. So now we could just duplicate this, but we could just make another one. So go cinematic, sequencer, we'll go Cobra, cobra underscore strike sequence. Okay. So now we have another sequencer. We want our cobra back in it. And we probably want that idle animation because we want to blend from it. So idle 4, and we moved. So I'm gonna have to try and guess. Hopefully, we're not too far off. And let's set a transform. Okay, so we have the animation here. It's going to be a lot longer than 5 seconds, though. So now we need a strike, even though we're not going to use all of this idle. Most of this idle is probably don't even need. We'll only use like half of the idle. And then we'll add in another animation. We'll add in the strike animation. That was strike 2. See what I mean? This is pretty easy. If you buy a character, most characters are going to come with animation, and of course all of my characters come with animation. So you can just use the animation that comes with the character and use it in your timeline and create all the actions you want. So here we have him idling. Now he kind of snaps into the strike, which is what we don't want. So what we can do is cross over. I can even zoom in by using that bar. We can cross over the animations here, and that will blend them together. So now he's kind of rocking, and he goes, and he strikes. And then we want him to go back into another idle. So idle 4 right there, and blend that at the end. And no, we can see the animations that long. There we go. All right, so he strikes and then goes back into the animation, maybe a little bit more like that. All right, there we go. We can end it right there, and that'll be our strike animation. So we can save that. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure my sequences are not too far off. So this one, they look pretty close. I don't know, probably not that close though. So now we have 2 sequences. One we're going to just play automatically, and the other one we're going to play when somebody gets close. So we're going to need a volume to make that happen. So let's, under Fortnite, under devices, I want a volume. Lay that volume down, and I'm going to put this volume under animals and rename it animals, and rename it to cobra volume. That's fine. And that's fine if it's a box. I don't really care. So if you get, we can make it in front of the cobra, more in front of him. So if you get in front of him, could even be smaller, like maybe 0.5. 0.7 here. There we go. So when you get in front of the cobra, he will try and strike you. Alright, so we don't need these sequences out anymore. And what we also need is another device, and that is a sequence device, which is right here. So let's put that down, and wait, I don't like my symbols being underneath the ground, so let's raise that up just a bit. So this one we can raise up. So this is a sequencer, and of course I want this in my animals thing, and I want to rename it to cobra. Cobra idle. Sequence device. Okay. And I'm going to duplicate this because I want another one that's going to be attack or strike. Sequence. Okay. So in the idle one, we have details over here, and we can choose a sequence that we want, and we want the cobra idle. We want it to loop on playback, and we want it to autoplay, and it's visible to everyone, all of that, normal play rate. And this, we don't need to trigger anything. Well, actually, we might. We want it to stop when it hits this volume. So cobra volume. When somebody enters the cobra volume, we want to stop this idle animation, and then we want to start it when somebody leaves it. Okay, so cobra volume on exit. Yeah. All right. And then the other one, the strike one, this will be for the strike. So we want cobra strike right there. We want it to loop. If you're just standing there, then we want it to just loop. And we don't want it to autoplay. It's visible to everyone, but we want to trigger it, and we want to trigger it by, if you enter the cobra volume, it triggers it. And it stops it when you exit the trigger volume. Exit. Okay, so that should work. I can save all this and check this all in. And now I'll show cobra strike. So I'm just saving all that. So that's so that's one way you could do this, and then maybe I'll have another cobra over here that just travels around. So let me throw down a second cobra. So here, cobra, second cobra, and we're going to call this rename it to roaming cobra. Roaming. Alright, and I want to put him in the animation folder, in the animal folder. I'm kind of stickler with the outliner and keeping it clean. Okay, this one is small like the other one, so let's make him quite a bit larger. And now we just need the sequencer to start animating him. So we need a cinematic level sequencer, and we'll call this roam cobra underscore roam. Alright. And open this up. Drag the roaming cobra in. Alright, and we'll give it basically what kind of animation? A walk, or should it be... Yeah, let's just do that. Alright. And it should be pretty easy to animate this. So we have a walking animation, and we want this probably to be, I don't know, 15 seconds. Let's go 15 seconds long, and then drag this out. And we'll go like maybe 12 seconds for the whole thing. And with an animation, if you want it to just keep looping over and over, you can just drag it till the end of your animation. And I want it to kind of loop perfectly, so we can move this and wait till we... Because every set of dashes right there is a new loop. If you see, if you look at the dashes, that's a new loop of the walk. Alright, so that works out pretty good. Now we just need to animate the snake, the cobra. I'll animate him on the transform. This, if you want to save the animation and make it like an animation you can play on a bunch of different snakes, then you probably don't want to do it this way. But it doesn't hurt, because I could just copy all these transforms onto the snake's skeleton. So let's start there, and we'll have to try and finish there. We'll have to try and make this a loop, and we don't want to go too close to the other snake. Alright, so let's just move him. We'll break this up into like quarters, maybe, something like this. Maybe do half. It's auto keyframing. You have to turn that on though. So I'm just setting a keyframe, and then I can, as it moves, I can set a new one, like over here. And rotate this. So now he's moving like this. And he probably wants to keep rotating here. Like that. And go to the end here. Rotate. Like that. just animate him moving around. I can just go here. And then, you know, I should keyframe all of these. So, or at least these. And I'm hitting the arrow keys or the comma and period keys on the keyboard to go back and forth like that. Alright, let's keyframe this one and keyframe this one. Alright. And now let's get back to the beginning. Oops. Get to the end here. And let me focus in so I can get kind of right on. Alright. And keyframe that and kind of set his rotation. Here we should turn. Then go here and turn like that. Or at least like this. Okay. So let's animate. We can go like that. Flipping right around. So let's take this one and delete that rotation. Yeah, if you ever get something that like flips back around, just delete it like that, because fixing that is not going to be easy. Okay, so let's go to the end. Make sure we're on the end frame here and then rotate it like that. And now we shouldn't have that flipping, and then we should go right into that. So the end here should be really close to that. Okay, that's pretty good. So now, okay, it's not perfect motion, but I am just doing a tutorial. So now we should just have a snake that just kind of roams around. And of course, now that I have this all laid out, again, it's in the sequencer. I can come back in here and say, oh, I don't like this. I can smooth out these corners or whatever. But this animation is done, so now he's just going to roam around. But we also need the thing that plays it, which is the device. So we need to go to devices and sequencer. Alright, right here. And pull this up. And attach the sequence, which is roaming. And we want it to loop and autoplay. And that is it. We don't need to do anything else. And he will just roam around. So let's save that and check this in. Cobra roaming. All right. And now, I don't know, we don't have time to wait around to see, for me to load up Fortnite and everything to see this, but you can see this if you go to Club Ross. You can see the cobra striking, trying to strike you, and the roaming one at the experience in Fortnite, in the Fortnite multiverse. So that's the video, everyone. Have a good one.